In today's episode of the Motorhome Matt podcast,
we're off to Italy with Vanlife Eats.
In the news, we have our Vanlove ticket giveaway winner.
Woohoo! And we answer your questions on keeping your motorhome permanently hooked up, getting more parking spaces in car parks, and roadside assistance numbers.
Do me a favour, I'm just watching your podcast. You know that bloody watch on the side of your wrist? Put it upright, it's doing my head in.
I'm going to see you on our...
Who the hell was that?
That will be Andy Woolner. Andy, nice to hear from you. And I'm going to straighten my watch for you. Is that better?
I'm going to wear mine like this all the time. Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans. And it's brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Right.
Remember to follow on your favourite podcast app, or if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe.
We have got a winner for our Van Love competition, and Matt, he drew it.
Huge congratulations to Louise on winning a trackside pitch and 2 VIP weekend tickets to Vanlove 2026. Well done, Louise, and I will see you there. Congratulations to our winner, but if you didn't win, you can get your tickets now and save 10% with the code MotorhomeMatt. That's one word. Just head to mhmp.info/Vanlove. We all know costs are rising, and insurance premiums haven't escaped that either.
So we're not pretending otherwise.
No, but I do speak with the team at Right regularly, and I know they're working hard to keep premiums as competitive as they can for the thousands of motorhome and campervan owners they insure.
You've also said they won't be right for everyone.
That's true. No insurer is. Different providers suit different owners.
But for the people they do fit?
Well, they can be extremely competitive on price. And when you add in their excellent customer service, speed and simplicity, they're a fantastic option.
That's handy, because I bet most people want their insurance to be quick, clear and preferably not annoying.
Exactly. So if you want to see if Ripe are a good fit for your motorhome or campervan, plus save 15% on your premium, head to the link in the episode description.
We're off to Italy, La Dolce Vita.
Absolutely.
The sweet life.
We have never done an episode on any specific location, but some of you have asked said you would like to hear one, so here we are.
Mark from Vanlife Eats has just come back from a big trip to Italy. So you spoke to him to find out how he found travelling in Italy in a motorhome and any tips he has for someone looking to do the same.
Mark, welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. About time, long overdue.
Amazing. Thank you so much for finally having me.
It's great to have you here. Well, you've been away. We're going to talk about that in a second. We are in a beautiful crafter from Bespoke Leisure. This one, best fan under 6 metres with a fixed roof, didn't it?
Wow. I mean, I wish I had something like this for driving around Italy. Stunning.
Yeah, it is very nice. It's certainly tidier than your van. I've seen it. Now, Mark, you've just come back from an amazing trip down to Italy to visit your Italian roots. You left in October. Tell me, what were the highlights?
Other than you sponsoring me.
We did, and that was a great honour for us.
It was a huge honour for me. Thank you so much.
You are welcome.
Even things that you didn't even know were happening, me looking at previous podcasts and getting things from that leisure shop, and you know, you guys helped out a lot with this. So great.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
So other than the sponsorship, what were the highlights of the trip?
Well, food.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
You are Vanlife Eats.
I went there hungry and I came back good 2 stone heavier, potentially developed diabetes, but...
This is meant to be a pro conversation about going to Italy in a van.
Oh, well, it's so worth it. Honestly, I'd recommend the 2 stones. Yeah. Maybe not diabetes, but...
So tell us, what is it like driving a van? You've got a van similar size to this, slightly longer actually, isn't it? What's it like driving in Italy?
Yeah, so mine's a long wheelbase, so it's bigger than this. Driving Italy is great. I mean, you come off the ferry in France and you've got those lovely, smooth French roads and you're cruising. Then you go through the tunnel and you hit Italy and it's... You know you're in Italy and there's roadworks everywhere and it's so different to France. But the scenery, incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible. Especially going through the tunnel in the Alps. The Italian Alps is stunning.
Yeah.
So first impressions was I was gobsmacked.
Yeah.
It was absolutely beautiful.
Now, as you say, it is very mountainous. And do you need like special tyres? Are the roads, they're full of potholes? Absolutely. But do you need special kit to drive around? Yeah. Do you need a 4x4? Is it that bad?
It's not as bad as needing a 4x4, no. I think any vehicle will do it. There's signs for snow chains everywhere, so it is advisable to have some snow chains. I've got the BF Goodrich tyres, so I'm good. But yeah, you need to make sure they are suitable because it can get very icy up in the mountains. And Italy is way more mountainous than I expected. I didn't realise. I knew there was the mountains at the top, but the mountains just come straight down the spine of Italy. Everywhere you go, you're driving on these Italian constructed bridges. It's like you're permanently on a bridge.
Right, yeah, in order just to cut across these huge ravines. The scenery is stunning, isn't it?
It really is. It really.
And would you recommend going in the summer or the winter?
Well, I went there with intention of food. That was my priority. So in the summer, there's great produce, things like the tomatoes. Obviously, Italy and tomatoes are hand in hand. But also, I went in autumn time because you've got the aubergines, you've got truffles, we've got the mushrooms, a lot more of that hearty Italian food. And honestly, I keep saying the scenery because it's beautiful, but going in autumn, when you've got the autumnal leaves, all the oranges and reds and greens all over the vineyards, and the hazy evenings, the scenery at that time of year, I think, is best. So that's why I specifically chose that time.
So would that be the time you recommend people went to Italy then, is autumnal time?
I would, and August can get very hot as well. So yeah, just after August, September, October, perfect time to go.
My last trip to Italy, we wanted to get to Rome, and it was so hot. We got as far as Pisa, and we gave up and turned around and came back. We couldn't bear the heat.
It's really hot in Italy, isn't it? People don't, they underestimate that.
Yeah. So your endeavour was to go to Italy and discover food, and no doubt that meant going into the cities, into the centres of Italy. Tell us from a practical point of view, is the ULEZ zones, as we call them here, so the low emission zones, are they real? Do they exist everywhere? And what's parking like?
Okay, so they have the ZTL zones, which are very central, very, very central. And you wouldn't want to be driving there anyway. So you would want to park on the outskirts. So generally when I was visiting a city, you want to park in a sosta, which is like a 24-hour car park. They are about €30 for 24 hours. They can be it does add up. But they're great for just being able to park up in a secure lockup, and then you can just jump on the bus and you can just head off into town. 20 minutes here and there, it's easy. So that's what I would recommend. I don't think it's worth going into the city. Not only are you at risk of that ZTL zone, but it just gets narrow. It's crazy as well. Crazy Italian drivers. I am one. I can say that.
So you can say that firsthand. But do these, what do you call the car parks? Zontas?
Sostas.
And do they have height restrictions?
No, they're made specifically for campervans, motorhomes. Yeah, ideal place to park.
And camping out then, whilst you're travelling around, can you park up overnight in these locations?
You can. So they are 24-hour car parks. Now, we are talking city, but if we are just going to step out of the city slightly, which is my favourite place to be, because that is where all the food is. All of the food is surrounding the cities. Right. All the farms, and then it's brought into the city, and then you obviously pay a lot more to eat in a good restaurant in the city. But if you go on the outskirts, same produce, you're just getting that same great food, and then you can stay in something what's called an agriturismo. So an agriturismo is almost like Brit stops, but for farms.
Right.
So there's vineyards on there, or any farm, dairy farms, meat farms, and you can stay on there. They have room for motorhomes. And
are they free or are they chargeable?
Sometimes they're free.
Right.
So I used an app called Agricamp, and with that you can pay, I think it's about €30 a year, and then all of the park ups on there are free. Sometimes you'll get there and they want €10, or sometimes they'll expect you to, as with Brit Stops, expect you to go and buy something from a restaurant, and, which is absolutely fine because that's what you're there for.
It's perfectly reasonable, isn't it? But is it like an air where you're not allowed to get your awning out and your table and chairs out? You just have to stay in the confines of your footprint of your van?
No, do you know what? Even the sostas, the 24-hour car parks, they're quite relaxed with that. I saw so many awnings out and people sitting outside in a car park. Very desirable. It's not the Italy I wanted. But if you want to go to like Parma, Bologna, Florence, all of those big cities that are so worth going to because they're stunning, you don't have much choice.
No.
Because unless you want to go really far out and park in an agriturismo and get taxis in.
I want to go into Florence and Tuscany on our next trip. And I'm hoping that rather than do 1,800 miles in a big circle and go via Scotland and the Outer Hebrides, we go south and get some sun. Yes. Would you recommend taking a van into the centre of Florence?
No, not into the centre.
No. Okay.
So I stayed in a place called Fiesole, and it's just on the outskirts. It's a very rich area around Florence. It's right up in the hills, and it looks down upon the Florence. I'll have to show you a picture because it was stunning where I parked up. But that was actually a campsite.
Right.
So it wasn't even. It was listed as an agriturismo, but it was hands down a campsite. It had a swimming pool, it had a bar, it had all the facilities you could want. And then is a 20-minute bus ride into town. It's the perfect stop.
And is public transport really easy to access when you're there?
It's really easy. It's difficult to know when to get off, but I realised Google Maps is actually quite useful for telling you where.
Yeah. And if I take the bikes, is that sensible to take the bikes into town?
Yeah, 100%. Bikes are amazing. Got my Gronny bike, and I was darting around all the towns on my bike.
So I'm a dumb British tourist, and I will do some research before I go, but I'm at risk of getting scammed or caught up in a tourist trap. Tell me about them, because they are real, aren't they?
They are the tourist traps. You hear about them a lot, and I've seen them firsthand. What it is there's a lot of people cashing in on, say Florence, for example, the home of gelato. It's where people go to try great gelato. So you go there and you see these gelaterias with these big, fluffy, bright coloured gelato in the window, and you're like, wow, look at that amazing ice cream. You go there, you get one, and you're eating it. And
I want one now.
Yeah, but that's the wrong stuff. Oh. That's the bad stuff, because gelato should be dense and creamy, and then you go to the back streets and you see a little gelateria, and they've just got all these little tins with the lid on. You don't see any of the ice cream. Ice cream, gelato. I'm half English, so sometimes I'll call it one or the other.
We'll allow it. It's fine.
Grazie mille. So yeah, the ice cream is in these little tins, and that is the best place to get the ice cream. Now, what I would hugely recommend anyone, and this goes for any city, is booking on a tour. As soon as you get to Florence, first thing you do, just book in on a tour. I used an app called Get Your Guide, and it cost about €30. And I met up with a load of people and a tour guide, and he walks you round, or they walk you round and say that's a good place to get gelato. That's a great restaurant. Try this meat. This is authentic, and you just all of a sudden you've got your bearings. Yeah. And after a couple of hours of being on the tour, you're left thinking, I'm going to book in for that restaurant. I want to go and check that out again. And you know where to go, and also you make friends. I did. I mean, I was a lone traveller, so it was great to be able to. You guys want to go and grab a beer? And off we went and had a beer and sat down and hear other people's stories. Where did you go? Well, oh yeah, we went there, and I'm going there. Those kind of lovely conversations.
They're the best moments, aren't they? Unplanned, and you can forge friendships for life.
Yeah, and I've got places all over the world now. People have invited me. You got to come and try my pizza, and I've had loads of that. It's brilliant.
So your trip was all about the food, and now I've eaten in Italian restaurants in this country, the UK. And I'm used to ordering a starter. There's often a pasta course. There's the main course and a sorbet and a dessert. Do you have to have all of that?
No, is the simple answer. You will find that people go there and they will just have the pasta course.
Right.
That is common. However, Italian dining is all about a gathering, for being there with friends, being there for a very long time. Us British people, we're fast. This is all about slowing down. We go in, we want to grab some food, and we're there for an hour and we're out. They're not. They're in there for 4 hours because this is their chance to catch up with friends and family, and it's an occasion. So you're there for a very, very long time.
It is very much a social occasion, isn't it, eating?
It is. And you don't have to finish your plate. That isn't a thing in Italy. It's they want you to feel like you've had enough. If you've got an empty plate, that's showing that, we haven't given you enough food.
Right. So is it impolite to leave an empty plate?
I wouldn't say impolite. It's expected that to eat as much as you can, to the point where you can leave some.
So tell me, was there a standout meal for you when you were there?
Well, I went there exploring the real cliche stuff like ragu, pasta shapes, pizzas, obviously the gelato. So I'd say that probably the main standout for me was the simple dishes. So I had something called polenta alla ragu, really simple ingredients, semolina flour and water to make the polenta. And then it had a ladle of a really simple ragu on it as well. And it was just delicious. Real hearty, poor man's food, humble food. So I'd say, yeah, the polenta dishes were a real standout for me just because of the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
But the thing that really stood out was the ragu. So ragu changes all throughout Italy. So you go to the top and you've got your ragu alla bolognese, which you may know as a bolognese sauce.
Yeah.
And there's actually the Chamber of Commerce of Bologna have patented the recipe for ragu alla bolognese. Okay. And if you go on their website, you will see, and there's certain rules. You can't use garlic. You can't use herbs. You're surprised there's no garlic, aren't you?
No, yeah.
A lot of people.
The Italians put garlic in everything.
No. It doesn't. There was hardly any garlic. A lot of the time they'd put garlic in it and they'd take it out again, so you don't see it. But yeah, no garlic in a proper ragu alla bolognese. Right. But the ragu in Florence is a very similar recipe, but they will add more to it. It's more gamey because it's a bit more farmy in Tuscany. So there's like rabbit meat in there a lot of the time, and veal and things like that. And then you go down even further and you get to Amalfi, and they just sear off all this meat in a pan and add the tomato sauce, then let it cook for about 4 or 5 hours, then take the meat out, and then you've got this meat infused tomato. So ragu was like a real passionate thing for me to explore.
That is a really dramatic difference though in terms of taste sensation. And was there a favourite region for you as you travelled around?
Puglia was incredible. The most amazing beaches, stunning food. There's a lot of seafood, but it was really easy to park everywhere. There's just parking everywhere. Bari was my favourite. Bari is at the top of Puglia. You go there and there's loads to do. It was so romantic. There was the little pasta alleys with the nonnas in it. So all the little nonnas are sitting outside in these alleyways with their little pasta trays, knocking out pasta shapes like you wouldn't believe. Like,
so nonna is nanny.
Yes, your grandmother.
And you went back to see where your nonna grew up. Is that right?
Yeah, and my dad as well. So my dad's Italian, my mum's English, but yeah, my family are all from a little village called Minori on the Amalfi Coast. Okay. It was made famous by Jamie Oliver. Jamie Oliver went there to learn to cook authentic Italian cooking from his mentor, Gennaro Contaldo. Yes. Gennaro Contaldo used to work with my grandfather. My grandfather used to be a chef. So a lot of what Gennaro and Jamie Oliver originally cooked is authentic food, like what my family cook in the same way. We do the ragu in the same way. We make our lasagnas in the same way. No white sauce. We put egg in our lasagna. That's all very authentic to that region. So it was great to go there and explore that heritage. And being a Bonito, I was like royalty when I was there. It was very bizarre. As soon as they knew who I was given free food, free cakes, free ice cream, because the Bonitos are quite well known in Minori.
You sound like a mafia family to me.
I felt mafia, yeah.
So tell me, you've got a book coming out which is all about this trip, and you're also giving loads of live talks at shows throughout the year. What can people expect to learn when they come to see you live or read your book?
So I mix things up. I'm often at the shows doing cooking demonstrations. Yeah. This year it will all be about Italian food. So my book that's coming out is Van Life Eats Italy. Mm-hmm. So everything out of that cookbook will be cooked at the shows. I'll also be doing talks and telling people the stories. I've got so many stories, Matt. But the book will be coming out probably around April, May time. It's going to be a lovely book. It's going to have stories in there. It's going to have where I parked. It's going to be more like a travel journal mixed with the cookbook. I mean, there'll still be 75, 80 recipes in there, all regional food that I ate, that I learned to cook. And
I hope different types of ragu.
Oh, I have, yes. There's about 4 or 5 different types of ragu.
Brilliant. Now, there is one particular story that I know you've got. I know that you have a fear of volcanoes. Share this one with me, will you?
It's leaked out, this story, isn't it?
Well, I don't actually know the story.
I've just been
tipped off.
Yes, I'm scared of volcanoes. When I was a little kid, I watched a horrific volcano movie and it scared me for life. And I thought I'll overcome this fear. So when I got to Sicily, and Sicily is beautiful, don't get me wrong. So I came off of the ferry from Italy to Sicily and I've driven around the corner and there it is, right in front of you, this massive volcano. It's huge, Mount Etna. Now, I know Mount Etna is famous for its food because of its real fertile soil that surrounds the volcano. So you get really good produce there, but also really good wine. Now, this is actually your fault, I'm thinking this, because I knew that I wanted to buy you an Etna red wine.
I would be very happy if you did.
And I thought, right, I'm going to get him that Etna red. And it meant I had to go up a volcano to get this for you.
Really?
So
you did that for me?
Yeah. You're thinking about the whole thing. Yes, it is all for you. Thanks, Matt. Now I've got this embarrassing story. So I've come in and I've gone up the volcano and I found Gambino Vini. It's the best vineyard. Well, it's voted the most scenic vineyard in the world. Yeah. Celebrities go there. It's a very, very established vineyard.
And I do actually know of it. And the soil is incredible. And some of the vines are some of the oldest in Italy, I think.
Yeah, they are. And there's more to that because I'm in there flashing my camera around and I got real luxury treatment. I was very, very lucky. And because I explained I'm writing a book and I'm filming a series, my YouTube series, they said, right, we'd really love you to have the whole experience. And I said, I can't because I'm driving. So they said, okay, you could park there. Stay parked up in the vineyard overnight. Great, this is amazing. The most scenic vineyard in the world. And I got the full experience. I tried 9 different types of wine. In between each course, there was food, plates of meat and the sausage. I had a soup at one point, cannolis. There was all sorts of food. It was an amazing experience. I've drunk so much wine. And then I started talking to the guy just before they were all shutting up and ready to go. No, we don't live on the mountain. No, we wouldn't live here because the lava comes through here. I was like, okay. And then he said, don't be worried if you wake up in the morning and it's snowing black ash. He says, that's normal. He says, it's that black ash that makes our soil so fertile. And this isn't helping my anxiety of being scared of volcanoes.
I'd say not.
They've locked the gate and off they've gone down the hill away from the lava part. And you can see the rubble of the lava where it all comes through. I mean, they've obviously built their business there, so I'm not entirely convinced that I'm going to be flushed away with lava. But all the same, I've gone to sleep that night. Clear sky, absolutely stunning sunset. I've gone to sleep and is it the wind? Am I hearing the wind? Or is that the volcanoes grumble? And my mind was going mad.
All I can see is a scene out of Dante's Peak. Remember that film?
I do remember that. And that was what I didn't want. But I was panicking. I was just panicking all night. Just the anxiety of the whole thing. And in the morning...
So did you overcome your fear?
No. It got worse.
Oh dear.
I mean, this in the morning, 6 o'clock, when the guy rocks up to unlock the gate. He unlocks the gate and the gate's open. I'm out of there. I'm gone. And I've just driven as far away from the volcano as I could get. I'm a wimp. But on that note, Matthew, I call you Matthew.
Only my mother would call me Matthew if I'm in trouble. But given that you're about to present me with a Gambino Vini and you've just basically, got very scared at night, I'm allowing you to call me Matthew.
Thank you very much, because you are in trouble, because I went through a lot to get this.
This is amazing.
So this is Gambino Vini. This is the Etna Red.
Wow, I have never had one of these. Look at that.
It's even chilled from sitting in my van.
Look at it. Mate, this is, thank you. I am genuinely going to enjoy this. That is amazing.
It's a lovely wine. It's very delicate. It doesn't taste heavy. It's actually quite light. It's quite fruity. And it's still got that depth. It's weird because it looks quite light, but it tastes quite deep.
Yeah, okay. And is there a volcanic kind of taste to it in any way? I don't know what a volcano tastes like.
No, I'm not sure I do either.
Given your experience, your mouth is pretty dry.
It tastes like grape.
It tastes like grape. I will absolutely enjoy that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing a bit of an insight to your story. It sounds like you had a great adventure and really looking forward to seeing the book. we'll have it in That Leisure Shop, and you can buy one online at thatleisureshop.com, or people can see you at a show and get it from you, can't they?
Yep.
Where can people find out more about you, Mark?
So I'd love people to watch the series. So it's all on YouTube, Van Life Eats. To find out more about me, vanlifeeats.com is where I'm blogging everything, vlogging, writing my recipes. And obviously I've got my cooking club as well. So if anyone wants to cook along with me and do live cook-alongs, we do a lot of that, which is good fun.
Brilliant. There we are. Well, Mark, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been great to have you.
Thank you so much, Matt.
A massive thanks to Mark Bonito. Many of you would have met Mark at the shows doing his cooking demonstrations, known as Van Life Eats. Such a lovely guy. And this was a great feature. So do you think we should do more location-based episodes? Let us know what you think.
Or do you think we should get some free holidays?
Let's do that. So catch Mark at the Warner shows doing his demonstrations and talks, and you can get his book at thatleisureshop.com.
If you're after a campsite where you can relax but still have plenty to do, then Matt is here with a fantastic campsite recommendation. Riverside Caravan Park in High Bentham.
Now, I've stayed at Riverside a few times now, and it's one of my top campsites. In fact, I'm heading back there again early this summer. It's family run, beautifully kept, and the welcome is always spot on.
And it's not one of those places where you arrive, sit down and then wonder what on earth you can do with yourself by 10 a.m.
No, not at all. Riverside's a great base for getting out and exploring. You've got walks all around you, from easy local strolls to bigger days out around the Three Peaks, Malham Cove and the Ingleton Waterfalls Trail. If fishing's your thing, there's river fishing and an on-site lake. And golfers, you're not far from Bentham Golf Course, which has views that are almost distracting.
Plus, the train station is just a short walk away, so you can nip off to Skipton, Lancaster or even Morecambe without having to move the motorhome.
And that's the beauty of it. You can pitch up for a few days, leave everything set up, head out exploring, and then come back to a spacious pitch, good facilities and properly switch off.
Riverside Caravan Park, one to add to the list. Find out more at mhmp.info/riverside. It's the Motorhome Matt podcast with me, Keith Gooden.
And me, Motorhome Matt.
It's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ribe. OK, it's time for our Q&A, the questions and answers. You ask the questions, and Motorhome Matt, he answers them. If he doesn't know, he'll ask somebody who jolly well does. First of all, Sue Lawton got in touch.
Hello, Matt. After 7 years of caravanning, I've just bought my first motorhome. Thank you for your podcasts. I've been binge watching them since January. My question's about battery care. I'm lucky enough to be parked on the drive. Should I be permanently hooked up? I've got a lead acid battery. Or will this damage the battery? And should I only just plug it in just before I go away to get the fridge cold? And my other battery question is, in the months of December, January and February, I'm not likely to be using the motorhome. Should I keep starting up the engine once a week, or does that not do anything? Am I supposed to just go on a short road trip to stop the battery going flat? Thank you. Oh, my name's Sue and I'm from Cumbria, Grange over Sands. Thank you very much. Bye.
Cheers, Sue. I was going to say, it doesn't say where she's from, but then she said where she's from.
A beautiful part of the world as well.
Can you help Sue out?
Yeah, we can. We do the same, Sue. We hook our van up when we're parked up at home, but I do trust our charger. I know that it will put a trickle charge into the battery and there's no chance of it doing damage, so it does depend what motorhome and what charging system you've got. We also have a lithium battery on our van, so its own BMS, the battery management system, would protect that battery from being overcharged. You haven't said what battery you've got, so if you want to let me know, I'll come back to you and advise. In our storage business, we hook motorhomes up for customers that pay for a top-up charge, especially through the winter, but we do this all year. And we do hook them up for a couple of days, and then we leave them for a week or so. I check the battery voltage with a meter and then maybe hook them up again for another couple of days. We don't tend to leave them hooked up for long periods, but there is potentially no harm in doing that. The risk, though, with hooking your van up to your house is that you've created this earth link, and the van, if there was a fault, could become live. You need to check out our recent episode on portable power packs and using them with a motorhome, where I unpack that in great detail. So it's quite a complicated topic. So that is the risk. There are ways to overcome that, which I go into in the Q&A after the main topic with Mark and Phil. In terms of starting it in the winter, if you start a motorhome or any car, you'll need to drive it for 20 minutes to re-top that battery up and to replace and replenish the power it's taken out of the battery.
Can't you just leave it sort of on the drive for 20 minutes? Does that not count?
Probably not, because at tickover, there's probably not enough charge going into the battery to top it up. And these days, smart alternators don't always kick in until you get up to about 1,500 or 2,000 plus revs. My advice would be take it for a drive. You are then definitely going to put a charge back into the battery, but you'll be also doing the brakes a favour, freeing them up, the discs aren't going to lock, and you'll be warming the engine up, get it nice and warm. I hold them in gear a bit too long, so they rev hard, and that warms up various components in the engine that can block up if they've been parked up for long periods of time. So that would be my advice, is take it for a drive.
Thanks for the question, Sue. Brian Best is in Longfield. Why do councils think all motorhomers want to wild camp in car parks? Some of us would like more parking bays so we can park for the day and spend money, then go back to our campsite. Mm-hmm. In another message, P.S. forgot to say, love your podcast.
Thanks, Brian.
So, Brian, yeah, I mean, I must admit, you ever seen the film Paddington? But,
I haven't.
The recent ones. In it, the bloke who played Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And the guy who was in the thick of it, can't think of his name now, Scottish actor. He plays a sort of neighbourhood, sort of yellow jacketed Jobsworth. Do you know? You can't park there, you can't do this.
Can't park there, sir.
The world is full of them, and a lot of them seem to dislike motorhomes. So why can't motorhomes use the car parks?
Well, in many we can, but I think it's a case that the local council needs educating on our pastime. And I've said this before, we need more collaboration and conversation between motorhomes, councils and car park operators. Often they're not always owned by the council, on what it is we need and why and how we can use it. We do bring a massive economic benefit to the region we visit. So when we park up, we do go and spend money in the local area, whereas a car park operator's willingness, whether that be the council or a private company, their willingness to accommodate motorhomes does leave them open to abuse from people who do choose to stay long term, which can have, of course, the opposite effect. It ruins the car park. Many people leave mess. And, of course, it's a minority that do this. And so to mitigate that risk, they just put a height restriction in and stop it happening. So I do believe we need more conversation with local councils to help them understand. And we've had councils on before,
we have,
who have been making lots of money from creating air type environments where motorhomes can park overnight and pay for it. I'm quite happy to pay 10 quid to park up overnight, like you can all over the continent. So it's just we need more conversation with councils. I'm trying to do my bit. Campra is a brilliant group, a campaign for real airs. They're a Facebook group, and they will help you go and speak to your local council with templated letters to help them understand what it is we are kind of craving and looking for.
Yeah, and also think about where you are parking. I mean, you see a lot of local news stories about people who say have a view of a beach or a sea or a pretty view, and what happens is that motorhomers park on the road outside their house. Now, they don't own the road outside the house, they know that, but they're blocking the view entirely. So think about where you're parking up and the effect it's having on other people. But I'm with you. Councils are strapped for cash, and what a great way of making a bit of money is opening some car parks to motorhomers who behave brilliantly.
Yeah, but it's not easy to engage a council. We've tried, and I've tried many times to get our local here to us in North Somerset, our local councillors, to come into the podcast studio, and they've kind of said, oh yeah, that would be great, we'd love to do that. Never happens. So I am still pushing, and of course councillors change and members of parliament change, so yeah, maybe, and I'm hoping we can get somebody in here with me to talk about this topic, and maybe we can curry some influence in Parliament. Let's see.
Stuart Ainsworth is in Huntingdon. Hi, Matt. Has anyone spoken to you about contacting manufacturers' roadside assistance numbers, which are often European free phone numbers starting 00800? My Fiat-based Berstner campervan has a breakdown number printed on the driver's sun visor. It's 00800 3428. That's Fiat, 1111. However, when I call it from my 3 phone, he's talking about his cell phone provider, it cannot be connected. I have tried the other networks and they all connect, although some do charge. Wow. He goes on to say, I have tried to get 3 to understand that this is the number not just for Fiat but for the Stellantis group, and they don't seem to understand the difference between 0800 and 00800 numbers. Just wondering, says Stuart, if anyone else has the same issue.
What's happening here is 3 are charging you a premium to dial 0800, as Vodafone do me. You pay, I buy a pack, that means my 0800 numbers are included at a regular cost because I often have to ring one. And 0800 is just not recognised. So the reality is a 0800 number is an EU rapid dial number, and they're used extensively across the EU and UK. So you don't need a code like a 0044 for dialing the UK, or 0035 or 353, whatever it is. You just dial 0800. And the Fiat Assist breakdown cover that all Fiat motorhomes come with for the first 2 years at least can be called in the UK. And if you've got a pen, write this down: 0203 450 8702. That is the number for Fiat Assist if you're struggling with that 00800 number.
That number again is 0203 450 8702.
Let's hope you don't break down.
Yeah. People want to get in touch, what should they do?
We'd love it if you did. Yeah, great questions make this content brilliant. So please ask them. mhmp.info/Ask Matt. You can fill in the form and we'll read it for you, or record it with a little orange button.
If you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure you visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory. It's at mhmp.info/approved.
And can we ask a little favour? We rarely ask you to do this, but if you have a moment to leave us a 5-star review, we would love it if you would. You can do that at mhmp.info/review.
If people are feeling hollow and they want to follow, what should they do?
Feeling hollow?
Yes, and they want to follow. What should they do?
You'll find us on YouTube, and you'll find us on Facebook and Instagram. And make sure you join our brand new Facebook group as well, Chat with Motorhome Matt. You can find it on Facebook, or just search mhmp.info/chat. I'll be honest, NordVPN started as something I only used while travelling, and now it's on all my devices all of the time.
All of them, even at home?
Yep, absolutely. Public Wi-Fi is the obvious risk, but even at home, I like knowing my data is protected. It blocks malware, dodgy sites, ads, the lot, and the Threat Protection Pro acts like a personal bouncer for your browser.
If your name's not on the list, you ain't coming in. So it's not just for internet gurus and digital nomads?
No, it's not. Absolutely not. It's for anyone using the internet. So whether you're booking a site, streaming TV, or checking your bank, NordVPN just quietly keeps it safe in the background.
And where do they go?
Just head to nordvpn.com/Motorhome Matt. You can get 4 months free thrown in, and you've got 30 days to change your mind if it's not for you.
Simple as that.
Sorted in minutes. It's worth every penny.
Just one cornetto, give it to me.
Not bloody likely, they cost 50p.